It started like any other congressional hearing: formal suits, controlled tempers, and the quiet rustle of paper as lawmakers prepared their carefully scripted points. But no one, not the press, not the audience, not even the members themselves, expected what was about to unfold. As Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez took her seat, there was a certain sharpness in her eyes, a kind of storm brewing just behind her measured tone. And when she leaned into the mic, her voice cut like a blade through the atmosphere. "Senator JD Vance," she began, "you continue to defend a man I believe to be nothing less than a pedophile president." The room didn't just fall silent, it froze. Cameras flicked toward Vance. Phones were lifted into recording mode. Reporters stopped mid-note. Everyone knew something seismic had just been said. This wasn't just political theater, this was an open accusation, a bold, dangerous line in the sand. People gasped. Staffers looked around, wide-eyed. Even some of AOC's colleagues shifted uncomfortably in their chairs. Was this a strategy? A media stunt? Or was she venting something deeper? JD Vance, who had been quietly reviewing notes, slowly raised his head. His expression was unreadable, calm, steady. For a second, it looked like he might let it slide. But then, he spoke. And what followed wasn't just a rebuttal, it was an intellectual ambush, delivered with the icy precision of a man who had been silently preparing for this very moment. "Congresswoman," he began, voice cool and deliberate, "you've just made the most reckless accusation I've ever heard on this floor. But let's talk about predators, shall we?" A hush swept through the room. Where was your outrage when your own party shielded Jeffrey Epstein's enablers? When prominent donors, people who had been to the White House, were exposed for their connections to traffickers, what did you say then? His tone didn't rise, but the words carried like thunder. You want to play the moral high ground? Let's walk through the border crisis: children lost, trafficked, thrown into chaos under your watch while you posted selfies outside detention centers for likes. And when it came time to act? Silence. Not even a tweet. AOC's expression stiffened. She leaned forward, ready to speak, but Vance continued. You throw accusations like darts, hoping one sticks, while ignoring your party's ties to the very people you claim to stand against. You accuse me of backing a pedophile president? Show me the evidence. Show the American people your proof, or admit this is nothing but slander wrapped in moral posturing. The power dynamic in the room shifted. JD Vance wasn't just responding, he was surgically dismantling her credibility, piece by piece. You know what the real tragedy is? He continued, locking eyes with her. We had a chance, both sides, to address child exploitation, human trafficking, corruption. But instead, you chose the camera. You chose TikTok rants over congressional reform. You chose political branding over bipartisan protection. At this point, even AOC's allies were silent. The press gallery scribbled frantically. Headlines were already being drafted. The tension was no longer between two politicians, it had become a national reckoning, live and unscripted. Vance pressed forward. When did we become so blind to truth that we let smear replace substance? When accusations like yours become the norm, who is left to protect the innocent from real monsters? He paused for the first time, scanning the room. You didn't just insult me, Congresswoman. You insulted every survivor who has ever begged to be heard, only to be ignored by politicians playing outrage Olympics. And with that, he stepped back. Silence fell again. AOC sat still, visibly shaken, not defeated, but shaken. She glanced at her notes, but the damage had been done. JD Vance hadn't just answered her. He'd erased the legitimacy of her attack in front of a live audience. Clips of the exchange flooded social media within minutes. Hashtags trended. Supporters on both sides chimed in. But something was different about this moment. It didn't feel like just another partisan fight. It felt like the moment a mask slipped, when public posturing was met with cold, hard confrontation. And while AOC has faced criticism before, never had a response landed with this kind of precision: clean, confident, unshakable. JD Vance had delivered more than a clapback. He delivered a warning that the days of consequence-free outrage may finally be numbered. And in doing so, he didn't just silence AOC, he exposed the fragile foundation of a movement built on soundbites, not substance.